There's this edit that's been replaying in my mind. It's a series of old ads, particularly that one iPod ad edited on Windows XP interface to a song the face of the internet never got to hear. Talk Talk by Charlie XCX. The edit, which I'll call Talk Talk, was catchy, and more importantly, it remained in my mind. Instagram seemed to notice this, and soon I was exposed to even more edits mimicking the same old internet graphics, all of them using old clips, memes, and YouTube videos, creating this compilation of nostalgia. These edits are part of a small internet movement called webcore, an aesthetic built on the visual and auditorial language of the old web as defined by Fandom's wiki. However, it got me thinking about how much the internet has changed, not just from 10 years ago, but even from 5. Webcore, alongside the ongoing conversations about the dead internet and the constant threat of complaints online, has led me to believe that there's something seriously missing in our current internet climate. And then I realized it. I can't tell you who made Talk Talk. I began to see it everywhere, in the most recent updates to YouTube, on the Instagram For You page, and in almost every interaction online. The user is no longer important. It's just the content. The interfaces has changed, and where a once vibrant playground sat is now a vacant husk overdriven by the commodification and desensitization of the individual. The internet doesn't just want you to forget it's a place, it wants you to forget that it's a people, a community. And instead, it perpetuates you with unsolicited content, entertaining you, consuming you, and data mining you for its own benefit. The something that is missing is what we all came to the internet for, to connect. You're not obsessed with the internet. It's obsessed with you. It's 1998. You've just opened a Netscape window to geocities.com, a free website hosting domain. Immediately, you're greeted with a series of hyperlinks that could transport you to hundreds of thousands of websites made by people, all situated within these virtual neighborhoods. Upon your visit, you could jump through entire web rings, leave messages on people's guest boards, and most of all, you could create your own website. Neighborhoods could consist of anything, from films to literature to even places like the Enchanted Forest, where Neopets were born, or Area 51 for anything science fiction. These neighborhoods became the collective identity of users online, organizing them into digital cities with URLs mimicking real house addresses. For you and your website, there was a place to return to, a place to call home, and at any time, you could leave by just hitting the word next. Founded in 1994, GeoCities made website creation accessible to the general public. By 1997, there was over 1 million users daily. With this, user-based content became immediately intertwined with this new form of communication, changing not just the landscape of the web, but our relationship with it. As Ian Mulligan, an internet historian, puts it, the web was no longer understood by the public as being a passive area of consumption. It was presented as something that you could live in. Most importantly, it was easy to move in. There's this sense of personhood with your experience on GeoCities. Entire websites could be built and customized by the individual. With GeoCities, the internet became a place, a new reality. Real people invested in these spaces the same way that they invest in real life, and as long as they participated, these communities would thrive. In 1999, GeoCities was acquired by Yahoo. However, the platform experienced a dramatic reconstruction after Yahoo decided to scrap the neighborhood structure and move users to URLs based on their usernames. This immediately isolated the user's experience and ultimately resulted in a decline in attention and numbers. Only 10 years later, in 2009, Yahoo announced the decontinuation of GeoCities as the company decided to shift its focus towards business, giving users only a few months' notice before deleting all of their content. And with it, almost an entire era of the internet was gone. To give you a perspective and to take from a very recent Hank Green video directly, ghost towns rarely happen in real life. Most towns still have people, or did for the longest time. Because as long as there was a reason and the necessary infrastructure to support it, a town would continue living. Even now, with our occupation as tourists in these ghost towns, we still get to memorialize the abandoned. However, when you consider the internet, ghost towns are kind of everywhere. Virtual communities uproot and move across the digital net regularly. And though there are wastelands to revisit, there is hardly an opportunity to salvage them. For the most part, these places on the internet are also awaiting their inevitable deletion by some greater power. It's important to say that it's rare for you to abandon a community, at least not by choice. It's only by force. In 2012, Facebook announced incorporating ads into their main newsfeed. This, alongside the already discussed Yahoo transition into a business-forward practice, became the foundation of Web 2.0 and pioneered our current social consumers internet. Web 2.0 and the networks that accompany it created a new, more complex, interactive social web. With pre-made user interface and easy-to-navigate architecture, Web 2.0 transformed into this digital white picket suburbia. However, one of the most distinctive traits of Web 2.0 was how it reconstructed the user, transforming them from their previous experience based on individual discovery into active consumers, creators, and participants of platforms where they had very little, if any, real agency. Social media has infiltrated our perception of not just our friends and interests, but our everyday reality. Our complicity is based on this embodied relationship we have with technology, where our comprehension of technology becomes a part of our embodied sense of self, so long as it improves human abilities. In the case of social media, we can believe our ability to communicate and be entertained is enhanced. Thus, we're given an equal opportunity to invest in technology the same way we would in any other relationship. The profile is a great example of this. As a virtual extension of oneself, we can expect them to reflect our personal interests and lives. However, if you look at current social media profiles, the element of customization is rather limited. There is an expected uniformity of profiles, with some platforms' profiles nearly being obsolete to the average participant. And most of all, these interfaces change, as if your identity is always vulnerable to be manipulated for a more coherent narrative. We're digitally incapacitated and we don't even realize it. Our embodied relationships can make us overlook how social media influences our communication and self-expression. We forget that the devices integral to socializing online, like emojis, comments, likes, shares, and hell, even memes, are entirely digital and differ from how we would communicate literally anywhere else. Even then, comparing our individual interactions online to the vastness of online experience, it's hard to identify who the individual is.
No one can steal your thunder when you are the effing storm. Remember that.
Nearly every critique of social media comes back to algorithms, as if in some incentives, algorithms feel like this formidable beast we're all desperate to overcome. Especially now with the incorporation of the endless scroll, the internet feels more like a cage than a room we're allowed to visit. The most information you can find online about algorithms are actually from other small creators attempting to decipher its systems. However, if you look deeper, the most tangible information on algorithms are hidden. This isn't necessarily a malicious practice. After all, these algorithms are, in fact, business patents. Yet their vagueness leaves room for us to interpret what they're capable of. Surveillance capitalism is at large, yes, but how often do we consider our place in algorithms? When we think of For You pages like Instagram and TikTok, we think of a page curated to our interests. And while algorithms do suggest content based on your interaction, it also fills your feed with content creators and businesses to satisfy their financial interaction between audiences and markets. In this way, we can interpret algorithms like this. It shows you content, you like the content, it shows you more. Never is there an initial input given by the user. It's the computer that decides. This is why algorithms feel so invasive. The user, content creators, and even businesses are perpetuated to be codependent on algorithms because without it, followership and interactions never materialize. What you have to realize with algorithms is that you don't get to shape them. It shapes you. Enshittification is a term coined by internet philosopher and bloggist Cory. It's the process of how a platform dies. First, they are good to their users, then they abuse their users to make things better for their business customers. Finally, they abuse those business customers to claw back all the value for themselves, and then they die. This process could be applied to nearly all major online entities, and now with the surplus of AI-generated content, it seems much of our digital social world has died. Stuck in this purgatory of content and consumerism, we can begin to feel incredibly isolated in our digital reality, as if social media's prowess of achieving the most optimal, curated experience is kind of counter to our actual social identities. Yet people still socialize online. Neocities, started in 2013, is the continued legacy of GeoCities. It's a catalyst to the current indie web and a place away from our social media wastelands and the nostalgia trip to the independent HTML websites of the 90s. It's a small community of users, and while I don't believe web creation is the key to dismantling corporate control online, I think its motives reflect the concerns users are experiencing. The decline of customization and personal space online has stripped users of their agencies. Companies now have control of our digital identities, and with algorithms and AI creating our experiences, it's becoming harder to tell where real people exist online. Nostalgia feels like a heavy-handed drug to mediate our losses. However, it's in that nostalgia that presents a real solution. The internet was made by people. Neocities is just one of the examples of us gaining our identity back, but it is important to remember that the internet should never tell you where to look, who to follow, or how to express yourself. It should give you an open door and a room to explore.